Hi, I'm Lauren Kennedy and welcome to episode 119 of Art This Week. This week we'll visit the reading room and speak with Keri Oldham about the exhibition Happy Endings. Now for Art This Week.
Hello and welcome to Art This Week. Today we're speaking with Keri Oldham at the reading room, and we're delighted that your exhibition Happy Endings is up. And first of all, I kind of just wanted to know what that title kind of means. Obviously we've got these beautiful motion picture ending kind of things. What's the exhibition about?
So the exhibition was actually started, I had, my prior work was figurative based, and I was kind of working with these different characters. And then last year I wrote my first script that was kind of inspired by some of the characters that I was painting. So in the process of kind of shooting this first short video piece, it got me thinking about cinema and cinema endings and the various kind of stories that we're surrounded with, just in terms of television, in terms of film, and just how we kind of identify with those stories. Specifically endings for me was kind of inspiring to look at. So the watercolor pieces are kind of meditations on the different genres of endings, you know, from comedy to tragedy to romance, just kind of how we look at endings and identify with them and kind of think about our own lives and bracketed in the terms of cinema and these stories. So kind of Happy Endings kind of came from that, in terms of the line between what are you taking from cinema and kind of what is the actuality of your own life and your own story. So
are you picking these from specific films, a specific time period, as well as a genre?
Yeah, so you know, the end and fine and all of the kind of title endings kind of stopped around the 70s and the 80s. So, and I, as a child, I grew up watching old films. I love you know, screwball comedies and old cinema. So a lot of these were kind of some of my favorite early childhood films. The title card for this exhibition is based on It Happened One Night with Clark Gable. We've got Swamp Thing is in this one. And I wanted a spectrum. I kind of wanted to look at film and stories as a whole. What
kind of textual relationship and maybe even font and design relationship have you seen between those graphics and the films?
The font is key. It's so funny how much font communicates in terms of genre. And that was a lot of fun to look at, I think, and kind of what we expect from a font and how much text communicates in terms of story. Was really interesting. But then in terms of doing watercolor, I wanted to take it, you know, off the screen and have it be a space for myself to kind of contemplate endings. So the watercolor backdrops were kind of a meditational space for myself as well. Thinking about endings in a personal way, you know, whether it be like an ending through a chapter of your life, if it be like the end of a job or a move or the end of a relationship or the end of a friendship. All of these kind of chapters in our lives come up.
So you have a very diverse practice, from watercolors to sculpture to film, video project, and you know, when you were here in Dallas, you were working with Andor Gallery and New Media. You also are a curator, a writer. You know, do you really describe yourself with all of these things, or is there something you really associate yourself with as an artist?
Well, I'd have to say, you know, the concepts are usually all the same. You know, the basic core of kind of what I'm interested in communicating, and I get inspired by different mediums. So I don't feel like I should only be doing painting or I should only be doing sculpture. I like how a language develops in all of these different mediums. But you know, for me, there's always an underlying thread. Maybe for people looking at my work, they kind of might have to fish for it a little bit. But for me, it's always there. It's kind of the same driving concept, the same kind of questions.
In exploring this idea, though, what are the challenges you meet? You know, I'm sure you meet different challenges with different media. I mean, one thing with watercolor, one thing with film. Like, what are some of those challenges that you're tackling?
Well, working with video has been a huge transition. It's actually it's been fantastic. It's been really exciting. You know, usually as a painter, you're alone in your studio all the time, so it's just kind of you communicating with yourself. But in the context of doing a video project, you know, you're suddenly working with all these people and you get different ideas. And it's great. It's great, but it has its challenges. For me, there's been a learning curve in terms of figuring out all the elements of video, from, you know, sound to editing to, you know, directing actors. But it's a lot of fun. It's really great. I really love to see what actors bring to the table in terms of, you know, you create a character and it seems like something fixed in your mind, but when an actor comes in and reads it, they're bringing like flesh to it. They're bringing like live blood to it. And it's great. There's a magic there that I really enjoy.
Do you always draw something out, or you always write out an idea?
I either start with sketching or with writing, definitely. In terms of the video piece I just made, it was actually a conversation. The beginning part is a conversation that I overheard at a restaurant. And then the second piece I did is also kind of based on things that I will see or witness, or in terms of making sculpture art, certain concepts that I need to sketch out first. So that's kind of the first step, to be sure. Well,
let's talk about the video, the bit. So that's obviously a conversation, or the beginning of a conversation you overheard, and then you kind of imagined where it was going to go from there?
Yeah. I was sitting at a Mexican restaurant in Brooklyn, and I'm kind of an eavesdropper, and I overheard this very interesting conversation that started out with a lot of like charged emotion behind it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on over there? So I didn't hear the rest of it. I only heard like the intro. There's like, you know, the first 4 lines of the piece, and then so essentially I finished out the conversation myself and kind of turned the volume up on it to kind of look at, you know, what might be behind those statements if you just kind of like really turned up the volume on it and looked at it. So.
We want to thank Keri for speaking with us. The exhibition is up through August 30th, 2011. The reading room will be open Saturday, August 20th and Saturday, August 27th from 2 to 6 p.m. More information on Keri can be found at kerioldham.com. More information on the exhibition can be found at thereadingroom-blogspot.com. That's it for Art This Week. Thanks for watching.
Sorry, I'm starting to get really hot.
It's kind of warm. It's kind of hot.
I still got your